Ooh, what it is, YouTube? Is your boy DC coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today on the channel. Today we're gonna be looking at a free FL Studio template I made to showcase like Zaytoven. I was listening to a couple of records made by Zaytoven, especially like Beast Mode 1, Beast Mode 2, and Future. A lot of the good stuff that Zaytoven has done, and he made a lot of great beats for Gucci Mane and everything like that. So yeah, let's get to it right now. If y'all do like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. To get the free download link to this FLP, you'll see it in the link down below. And if you guys appreciate the video, comment, okay? So first thing that we're gonna look at is when I think about Zaytoven, I think about his drums, his bass, and it's always about that Zay 808. Even in the early Cardi days, you feel me, when it was the plug beats and stuff, that was really like Zaytoven beats. Come on, the snares and everything. And one thing about Zaytoven is that his 808 is always short. It's that boom, boom. It don't really got too much sustain. It's usually like his keys and his pads that are long and luscious. You feel me? Those pianos and stuff like that that are giving the sustain of the song. So I would use Voice of God Little Labs because I love how this filter kind of gives like that real resonant bump that it will really emphasize a Zaytoven 808. You can do the same thing with the regular EQ, but for me, I just love how this plugin sounds. It just has a musicality sound to it, like when it's a resonant bump. So if on a Zaytoven 808, I think that a plugin like this will be perfect, and that's why we put it on the template. Then with if I was mixing a Zaytoven song, when I think about more realer than y'all, there's I be feeling it all. You feel me? Like that beat, I just love how like glossy that beat is. I love how it has like an upper mid range presence to it. So I would probably like if I was mixing Zaytoven, I wouldn't be trying to touch the direct insert of his 808 because when you're working with great producers or you even got a great beat, there's a reason why the artist liked the beat. There's a reason why the producer picked those sounds. You feel me? Because there's intention behind the choices. So I think that blending in something like a tube screamer or overdrive pedal in just to give the mid range more buzzing, more grizzly bear type of texture, I think is great and would really suit a Zaytoven type of sound. Now, when it comes to Zaytoven, I always feel like Zaytoven is the type of person where he don't really use like kicks too much, or it feels like he's got a kick layered under his 808. It just feels like always his music has been more like that Zay 808 boom, it's kind of bass driven, And if there is ever a kick, it feels like the kick is baked into the 808. So regardless, we'll look at a Zaytoven kick. If I had to do like a Zaytoven kick, I would definitely use the FL Studio Clipper. The Clipper is a great plugin because it always is going to bring that mid-range distortion to something like a kick or a snare that's going to make it hit harder, kind of like almost damn near to the point where it's like dumping more peppers and more hot sauce and just, like really super spicy buffalo wings with that sauce onto the kick, making it thump a little bit harder. And then Decapitator is another great plugin for kicks. I always think that a preset like the A, which is the Ampex tube, is always like literally like the best one to use just because it gives girth to it. But even the E and the N is also good. The triode is also good. So yeah, I'd probably just do a little bit of parallel blending or use the onboard blend for FL Studio on Zaytoven. So one thing about Zaytoven, why Zaytoven is so raw, bro, is because he's always got that little short, that little short ass Zaytoven snare, bro, that always like really, really hits well. And a DBX 160 would probably be like one of the better compressors to use. If you were gonna use a compressor, you might want something to give even more snap to Zaytoven. So yeah, I think that's great. Zaytoven also has some really dope songs in different genres like R&B and stuff like that. So sometimes you want his stuff to be a little bit more mellow. I think the DBX has the perfect amount of versatility. So yeah, that's what I feel about Zaytoven, and I like his work with Young Scooter, Future, Chief Keef, and all them boys. You feel me? He's just a goddamn legend. So that quick Zaytoven snare would benefit with the DBX 160 as it's a VCA compressor, and that's why I made the Zaytoven, FL template. Now with the pianos, you want to get that long, luscious, sustained, like one of the great piano performances I like is Oh yeah, I think I want my bag. Hey, ready up and to the side, check everybody, my nigga. Red lights. Isn't that's the song by Future, right? Red lights. Let me see if I'm pretty sure that's the song by Future. Oh yeah, I think I run my bag. Hey, yeah, that song Red Light. I just love how luscious and emotion the piano sounds like. Even when the piano's not playing, it has this nice sustain to it. So bringing in some like a Neve 33609 is always great to add more, of that goodiness to the sustain, right? The length dun, dun, as the piano note is being held, you want it to shimmer and just kind of move and groove in a certain type of way that hits you in your soul. And Zaytoven been able to consistently do that for many years. So I think a plugin like a Neve 33609 will work great on Zaytoven keys. And with the synths, Valhalla Ubermod, sometimes you want to just use like a basic chorus effect to widen out a pad or something like that. With Zaytoven's bells, they always hit hard. But in terms of when you start using like compression on your master fader, some things, the length of certain things might change, or you compress your drum bus, the length in the groove might change a little bit. And everything with Zaytoven's beats and his music and always his production through working with Gucci Man, Migos, Future, it's always been about that groove, right? That pocket. That's what allows the rapper to fit in it like a car when the door is open and you slide into the front seat. So yeah, I would probably use something like a bell on like the bells or anything like that. I use like a transient designer. Sometimes you might want to make it less sustain, more attack, less attack, to really nail that groove of that Zaytoven. I think another great compressor for Zaytoven, if I was mixing for Zaytoven, I would definitely use the Manly Verimue, as the tubes have a great way of helping the whole music bus shimmer. And that's one, key trademark of Zaytoven, is that his beats and his music always shimmers. So, maybe using the tube compressor is what you need to make your mix just shimmer. There's a difference between something being bright and just shimmering. When something shimmers, it has a gleam to it. It has a little sparkle, a little twinkle in the eye. You feel me? Type shit like that. So that's where the Manly Verimue would come in. It's a tube compressor, and it's got some great features that other tube compressors don't give, like the adjustable release time. So it's a fixed release time. But hey, most tube compressors don't give you access to the release and the attack. So I think that's really good. And you can also do some cool widening effects with the mid side stuff. So that's really good. Just basic waves tune, because he usually works with melodic rappers like Future, Quavo, Migos. You feel me? Gucci Mane that use auto tune nowadays, and then probably use like a Shep 73 to give warmth. Because if Zaytoven's beat is kind of warm, that's kind of setting the stage for the temperature of the room that the whole house is supposed to be on. The thermostat is warm. You feel me? Not hot, but warm. So yeah, I would use something like a Shep 73 if I'm working on a Future Gucci Man voice. Always, because that's just what's gonna support Zaytoven. And LA3A is great because it has that transformer in it. Where the LA2A, it's more tube focused, so it just has a brightness to it. But we don't want the music to be bright and the vocal to be bright. So a CLA3A would work great if you were trying to slot in a vocal performance on a Zaytoven beat. SSLG is good too, because a lot of times it's street rappers that he's working with, and they're always talking about whipping dope like Young Scooter and shit like that. So the SSLG, the gangster mode, would be absolutely perfect for a rapper that's trying to hop on a Zaytoven type beat and spit some real gangster shit. Or even OJ the Juice Mane, way back in the day, he would work with him. All right. And Arvox is cool too, because it's gonna make the vocal feel nice and fat. And that's how Zaytoven's melodies always feel. They always feel plump, like them Georgia peaches. And I know he's from Georgia, so that probably influences him too. The volume, like not the volume, the how loud it is, but the actual volume, the actual density in the space in which the music takes up. Okay. And then last thing on the master fader, I would definitely use a warm tape, because the thing about Zaytoven is that his music always has that soul to it, and that's kind of what tape does. That soul, giving that density in that high mid range, and then the fresh air to finish it off. And yeah, that's pretty much. I just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And down below, if you want to support the channel, check the links and tell me what you think. Appreciate y'all now, YouTube gang. Peace.